Hi there, I'm Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy. Welcome to this week's edition of the Night Sky This Week for May 5th, 2025. It's great to see you guys here. I love to see where you're watching from, so do put it into the chat. It's great to see everyone from around the world. I can see someone from usually cloudy Illinois. Yes, I know what you mean. Here in Montreal, lots of clouds too. Tom from New Hampshire is joining as well. And if you're abroad outside of the Americas, I'd love to hear from you as well. Do put your comments in the chat too. First off, I wanted to mention, of course, the Northern Lights. I don't know if you heard so much about it. I was tweeting and Facebook posting all about the possibility of having auroras. In the last week's episode, we talked about it. There was a lot of push online in the news about the auroras, and I was really hopeful. I was watching the data, telling you guys all about what I was seeing. I went out a couple of times too, but no show. No auroras. I'm in Montreal, Canada, which is about 45-degree latitude. Actually, it's exactly 45-degree latitude, and you can see a few times a year auroras. Most people are surprised to hear that, but it's true. So those of you who are not familiar of the lay of the land where I'm about 6 hours north of New York City. So it's not bad in terms of being able to see auroras if you know when and where to go to watch them. And they're usually not very bright. Sometimes we get what we're called geomagnetic storms. That was what was supposed to happen this past week, is a geomagnetic storm. If that would have panned out, we would have gotten a good view. And just to put that into perspective for those of you who are unfamiliar, aurora borealis are caused by charged particle clouds heading from the sun. They kind of originate off of the surface of the sun. It's like a small explosion that happens. Small is relative. I mean, in this sense, it's an explosion that's larger than our whole planet Earth. And if Earth happens to be in the way of this cloud that's traveling away from the sun, our magnetic field that protects our planet, like a bubble, gets really rattled by this. And all those charged particles from the sun get funneled in through the North and South Pole. And they basically charge up the molecules in our atmosphere. So nitrogen, oxygen, things like that get really charged up and they start glowing. And that's what we see as northern lights or southern lights. If you're my friends in the southern hemisphere, that's what you would see, is these beautiful light shows. And we're supposed to have that, but it didn't pan out. It was much weaker, the charged particle cloud, and we got sort of more of a glancing blow in one of the follow-up clouds. Now, with that said, there's still a lot of action. I'm going to go to the website here. Let me just get that going for you guys and see. I like to go spaceweather.com is the site that I like to visit. And on spaceweather.com, here you can see they really go into details about forecasting space weather systems, particularly auroras, geomagnetic storms that cause auroras. And so this is a great site. So they're giving you like an update here on May 12th. Hit on their CME, a coronal mass ejection. This is that charged particle cloud that I'm talking about. Hit us on May 12th at 6:35 UT. So that would be, just to give you guys a perspective, in North America, 2:35 a.m. in the morning. And it was detected by observatories, but the impact did not immediately spark any geomagnetic storm. However, now a minor G1 class storm, so it's a minor low-grade geomagnetic storm, is underway as Earth passes the CME's strong magnetized wake. Well, guys, there is on the far side of the sun, I think this is even a better thing to look forward to. There's a very active region. You can see this. This is on the opposite side of the sun that satellites are able to measure of what's going on. And there's a very active region. Usually we're talking about giant sunspots that produce this solar activity, solar flares, magnetic activity. and disturbances. And once this rotates in the next couple of weeks to our side of facing the Earth, then maybe, perhaps, we may get more aurora chances, at least geomagnetic storms that could cause auroras. So stay tuned. What this all means basically is stay tuned. There's going to be more activity. I'm crossing my fingers I'm going to be able to see it. I've been wanting my daughters to see it. They have teenage daughters that have never actually seen an aurora, and this is something on our bucket list, and this is something I'm hoping to see, and hope you guys get a chance too. So stay tuned. I'll keep you guys posted on that. So that's with the aurora. So that's one thing, but there's always stuff happening in the skies, right? So check this out. So we're gonna go into the planetarium program right here. My friends at Sky Safari produce these, so it's really a nice program. And what we have here is the sky set up for us after sunset. So this is a recording. If you're watching this in the future, this is May 15th, Monday. So on Monday, May 15th, as soon as the sun sets, this is approximately what you would see. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different depending on where you are. I'm just going to put this up like that. So May 15th, just after sunset, this is what you'd see. The first thing you'll notice is this very bright star-like object, Venus. Venus is unmistakable. This planet is so bright. It looks like a super bright star. It's hanging in the northwest part of the sky, basically. And once it gets dark, beyond this planet, there is something that is also very visible. And this is quite eye-catching. Perhaps you have seen it. If you haven't, take a look. No binoculars or telescope necessary. And you could be in the city for this. You'll be able to view it even under moderate light pollution. You can see this. Right above Venus is a row of 3 stars. See, that's kind of a crooked row of 3 stars. Actually, it's not as crooked anymore. A few days ago, it was more so. Now it's more of pretty much of a perfect lineup almost of 3 stars. But look what they are. It's planet Mars. That's the orangey red star that's on the left, followed by a Pollux and Castor, which is a pair of stars that mark the constellation Gemini, the twins. So Gemini, the twins, are marked by Pollux and Castor. All 3 of these are in a beautiful lineup right above this super bright star Venus. So this whole, 4 celestial objects are very eye-catching because of that lineup. Our human brain is wired so that we see patterns. Patterns attract our attention. And humans, from time immemorial, have always kind of made patterns. And we do that in the sky regularly. That's where constellations come from, right? So that's how we come up with all these ancient cultures that have come up with them, and pictures in the sky. And so this is a really interesting happenstance where we have Mars lining up with these 2 brilliant stars. Don't miss it. I actually took some pictures with my phone the other night, and I wanted to just share that here with you. Let me see if I can. Let me bring this up here. Take a look at this. So this is I walk my dog every night. This is around, I would say, 10 o'clock p.m. local time. So around then, I was walking around looking towards the northwest, and this is what I would see, is this 3 stars. That is Mars, and there's Pollux and Castor, the 2 Gemini twins. Now, Venus has already kind of below the tree line for me here, and you can see here I marked them off. Oops, let me see if I can get them. There's the big, and what's really cool also with this is that there's the Big Dipper bowl above there. So let me go back to the planetarium program, and if we kind of go above, let me see if I can decrease the magnification. And I want you to see, I'm going to go a little bit later so it's darker. There's Venus, right? So there is the horizon, west, northwest. There's Venus. There's Mars, Pollux and Castor, and look what's above is the Big Dipper. A lot of us know the Big Dipper. It's something that many of us learn in our childhood in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a wonderful guidepost learning the sky. And right now it's kind of sitting on its side and it's just above the three stars that are in a line there. Of course, one of them being not a star, but a planet, planet Mars. Just gorgeous. Take a look at this. Highly recommend. It's there all week. Now, every day Mars will move in a different position slightly. Now, watch this. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to make it so that this is, of course, right now on Monday, May 15th. But watch with Mars over here. There's Mars. I've tagged it. And look what happens. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Do you see how Mars is kind of moving away, drifting away, leaving behind the Gemini twins? So as you watch it during this whole week, you'll notice night to night that Mars is drawing away. And why that's happening is it's because Mars is so much closer than these stars. The stars are light years away. I mean, imagine it takes light years to reach us from even the nearest star. The nearest star is just over 4 light years away. Here we have Pollux, right? And Pollux is a star that is 100 and, sorry, not this one, not this one. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it here. There, Pollux. Pollux is a star that's 33.8 light years away. Meanwhile, Castor, right next to it, is 50.9 light years away. So imagine that, 33 and 50 years that the light from these individual stars have traveled before they hit your eye, those photons of light. And then you have Mars next to it, and look at what the distance of Mars is. Mars is only 15.98, which is basically 16, let's say, rounded off, 16 light minutes away. So instead of years that the light takes to travel to your eye, as with the stars, with Mars, it takes only 16 minutes. That's because it is 287 million kilometers away, the distance of Mars to Earth. We can measure that in kilometers, 287, but you know that 1 light year is about 10 trillion kilometers. Imagine that. So that's why astronomers use light years when we're measuring things that are beyond the solar system. It's just that the distances are just so crazy big, it doesn't make sense to use kilometers or miles anymore. So that's the reasoning that was there. I see folks joining me from Toronto. Deborah says that Venus was so spectacular last night just east of Seattle. I kept thinking it must be an airplane, but it didn't move. Exactly. A lot of people think that Venus that you see here in the West is a plane, but then they notice that it doesn't move, really. You know, as you watch them for a few minutes, it's just sort of stationary. Hey, Robert from Los Angeles. Nice to join. Leva, also from Los Angeles. Matt from Abington, UK. So very good. Hope to hear about the supernova. Perhaps you're talking about Betelgeuse. I don't know. Maybe clarify it what you're mentioning, because there's lots of news about Betelgeuse too, having activity. That's the brightest star in the constellation Orion, which right now is kind of setting. Let me see if I go back to Monday, where we're broadcasting right now. You can see here that a lot of the winter stars that are familiar to us in wintertime are gone by early evening once the skies darken. There is Betelgeuse right there at sunset. So really just after sunset, you may get a last glimpse of Betelgeuse, which marks the shoulder of Orion constellation. Very, very cool thing from there. Camelia says hello from Monterey, California. And Teresa from Illinois, Sweet Illinois. Really? Is that really the name of it? I like that. If that is it, it's nice. I like living in a place called Sweet. That would be cute. So this week, what else is there? So we've got on, if you're an early morning person, check this out. So we're going to put this in the morning of Wednesday. So we're going to go early like this, and we're going to look towards the east. So I'm going to switch this up. Look what's going on and east. So this is Tuesday. So this is tomorrow morning. I'm recording on Monday the 15th, but Tuesday the 16th, this is the view looking towards the east. So if you can get up before your sunrise, I know it could be pretty early for some of us, but this is what you would see. If you happen to be there, you'll see a gorgeous crescent moon, and right next to it will be, to its far left, lower left, will be a bright star. That is planet Jupiter. You may remember we were talking so much about Jupiter in the evening sky. Well, now it's switched up. Now it's an early morning object before sunrise. And joining Jupiter will be a much more challenging planet, but you can see it pretty easily with binoculars, and that's little Mercury right there. Now watch what happens as I put this onto Wednesday. By Wednesday, the moon is going to be on top of Jupiter. This is what we call an occultation, and those of us across the Americas will be able to see this. And I'll have a post of more detail about this on my Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So keep an eye out there. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, do that now, because you don't want to miss out on my notifications of all these different things, sky charts that I post, and just notify you of what's going on so you don't miss out on, we all busy, but we don't want to miss out, spending a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes to go outside to look at some of these cool things. So in this case, the moon is actually going to cover Jupiter, which is pretty spectacular. If I just change the setting here and this is pretty easy to do. Let me see here with the moon magnification. I'm going to kind of make it smaller right there. You can see this is the actual size of the moon. And let me see if I can get it actually there. And then I can go like this. This is very cool. Let me go back here and see if I can zoom in like that. So this is what it'll appear very close. So most of us across the world won't see necessarily an occultation, but you'll see a very close, unusually close flyby of the moon by Jupiter. And you can see it's going to be a razor thin crescent moon. Again, this is Wednesday morning at dawn. Okay, so looking towards the east, this is what you would see. And if you have a pair of binoculars, this is what it would look like through binoculars. Through a telescope, this is what you would see in some parts of the world. And in some parts, like I said, in the Americas, the planet and Jupiter will be even closer, and in some places even covering it. Now, I'll have a guide for this of all the details on my social media feed. So do keep an eye out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I'll have it all there. So that's on Wednesday morning. Now, if you have, of course, binoculars, look, you'll be able to even see the moons of Jupiter. Really beautiful. If you have a telescope, then you can actually spot not just the moons. You can see they're like a little row of ducks beside Jupiter. You can see the cloud belts of Jupiter, as you can see here in this animation. Those brown cloud belts are visible even with a small backyard telescope. Really, really cool. Now, Friday is a new moon, meaning you see the crescent moon here on Wednesday. Watch what happens. I'm just going to show you by going by one day. So this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Boom. So by Friday, the moon disappears from the sky, basically, and it leaves behind a dark sky perfect for looking at stars. So if we magically go, say, for an evening viewing, by the end of this week, it's fantastic. Actually, the entire week is great for viewing the night sky. Wait until it gets completely dark. So in my region, in mid-northern latitude, I have to wait around 10 o'clock at least to be able to really look for deep sky objects up in my neck of the woods. But what's really cool is the amount of deep sky objects. And one of the most amazing ones out there has to be a globular cluster that I love. It's in the constellation Hercules, the strong man. And what we can see this in the strong man here, it's right now going to be, as I said, in the east, rising. In the next couple of months, it'll really be dominant. I'll talk more about it. But look for this, what's called a keystone. See these 4 stars I'm marking off? This is what we call a keystone figure. And it's the chest of Orion, the strong man. And this region has something called what they call the Hercules cluster. It's a globular cluster. It's an accumulation of circular ball-like accumulation of over 100,000 stars. And it's absolutely beautiful through a telescope. This is sort of what you can expect to see through a telescope. Isn't that gorgeous? This is, of course, a photograph, so it's brighter. It's an long exposure photograph showing you how bright it is, but it looks like a fainter version of this, almost a ghostly version when you're looking at it through a telescope. And the bigger the telescope, the brighter it is. And it's amazing. It spans about 100 light years across. And you see there, and it contains over half a million stars, over 500,000 stars. And it stretches about 100 light years across. It's one of the most beautiful deep sky objects for backyard sky watchers to look at. It's the Great Hercules Cluster. It's also known as M13 or Messier 13. It's named after Charles Messier, 18th century astronomer, French astronomer who was a comet hunter. And in his travels across the sky, he marked out different objects that weren't comets that he just stumbled across, and he made a list of those. And it's that list of 110 objects represents the cornerstone list for backyard astronomers in terms of beautiful deep sky stuff that's accessible for small telescopes and binoculars. So the Hercules cluster, as I said, is in the Hercules constellation. Vega, the bright star, also helps as a guidepost, and we're looking in the east. I'll have a lot more over the course of this next few months talking about this. I'll come back to it, so don't worry if you're not catching this or you're not able to watch it now. That's fine. I'm just giving you a heads up. These are things that are visible during the time when there's a new moon, like this week. So do look for that if possible. There's going to be a lot of interesting constellations that will be rising in the next few weeks and months. One of the things that you can still see very bright are the springtime constellations in the northern hemisphere. Virgo the Maiden with its bright blue star in the south. This is late at night looking towards the south. Above it is the bright star Arcturus. And I'm going to show you a little trick. I've shown this before, but never gets old. If you're new here and you're not sure about your way around the night sky, find the Big Dipper in the north. Look towards the north, and you're a northern hemisphere person. Look for the Big Dipper and the handle of the Big Dipper. You see that? And just take that imaginary arc of the Big Dipper and keep drawing it out down towards the horizon, and you'll meet the next brightest star is Arcturus. So we say we arc to Arcturus from the Big Dipper, and then we spike down, straight down to the next brightest star, which is this beautiful blue beacon called Spica. So you can learn 3 different groups of stars: the Big Dipper, which is part of the Ursa Major constellation, the Big Bear, and you use that handle of the Big Dipper to arc to Arcturus right there, and spike to Spica right there in the constellation Virgo the Maiden. And Arcturus is in the constellation Bootes. Okay, so you've got Spica in Virgo, Arcturus in Bootes, and the Big Dipper in Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Something you should try. If you haven't done that before, it is quite easy to do. Something that's fun, and you start learning about using these guideposts in the sky. I'll go back to the Big Dipper in next week's episode, and I'll show you another star hopping technique. That's what this is that I'm showing you. And it's really a great basic way to learn the night sky. And it works every season. So stay tuned. I'll have some more stuff about that. If you're interested learning more about the night sky, I invite you to maybe check out my book, my bestseller, Backyard Guide to the Night Sky, by National Geographic. It's consistently ranked in the top three books about stargazing out there. It's very practical in nature. It helps you, guide you. If you're a complete novice, somebody who doesn't know anything about the night sky, this is a great little book to get you interested. It's not the one book that you'll need just that one forever, but it's a good one to get you started in the hobby. And it's got lots of sky charts, lots of deep sky stuff, how to find planets, how to watch meteor showers, how to buy a telescope or binoculars, how to use them. All of that's in there. If you're interested into something more meaty, then check out my Stargazers Atlas that was released just a few months ago, again, by National Geographic. I'm a contributing author on this book, and basically I've made sure that they've covered all 88 constellations visible from around the world, mythology, culture connections, astrotourism. It is 6.5 pounds, a coffee table book that you want to curl up on the sofa and really get acquainted with the night sky and humanity's connection to the cosmos, really. That's what it is all about. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if to show your support, please hit that subscribe button. It means so much to me. It allows me to bring these videos every week to your home. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or on Facebook. I'd love to see you be part of my stargazing community. And with that, I wish all of you guys clear skies until the next time. Bye-bye.